What is the true measure of strength? Is it the roar that commands obedience, the raw power that carves a kingdom from stone and fear? Or is it something quieter, something overlooked, something so small it is mistaken for nothing? We build fortresses of pride, convinced of our own sovereignty, dismissing the silent and the subtle as dust beneath our feet. But what happens when the steel trap of our own making finally snaps shut? What then, when the only key is held by the one you never saw as worthy? In the scorched heart of a forgotten land, there lived a lion. He was not merely a lion, he was the monarch, a walking embodiment of power, whose roar was the only law the wind obeyed. His kingdom was a cathedral of bone and granite, his throne a sun-bleached rock overlooking a world that trembled when he moved. His manner was a dark fire, his eyes twin embers of casual dominion. One afternoon, in the deep, slumbering heat, a shadow detached itself from the other shadows in his lair. It was Flicker, a mouse, a creature made of desperate courage and gnawing hunger. Driven by the scent of a forgotten morsel, Flicker navigated the colossal landscape of the sleeping king, a treacherous pilgrimage across a mountain of muscle and fur. A single misplaced step, a twitch of a whisker against the monarch's face, and the world imploded. A hot wind, smelling of dust and yesterday's kill, blasted the tiny creature. A paw, a plate of armored muscle tipped with 5 ivory daggers, descended like a collapsing roof, pinning Flicker to the stone. The monarch's eyes opened, 2 golden suns eclipsed by fury. Beneath the weight of absolute power, Flicker vibrated with a terror so profound it became a sound, a thin, reedy plea. Sovereign, mercy. My life is a breath, a trifle to you. Spare it, and I swear, this insignificant life will one day repay this debt. The monarch stared. And then, a tremor began in his deep chest, rumbling upward into a laugh. It was not a sound of joy, but of immense, condescending amusement. A tremor of thunder that shook the dust from the cave walls. The idea! This trembling speck, this morsel of life, repaying him? The sheer absurdity was a balm to his irritation. With a final, dismissive snort, he lifted his paw. Go, he rumbled, the word an avalanche. Your promise is amusing. Live, and do not cross my sight again. Flicker vanished, a ghost of gratitude in the oppressive silence. Weeks turned to months. The monarch's power remained absolute, his pride a fortress. But the world has teeth of its own. One dawn, chasing a phantom scent, he charged through a clearing and felt the ground give way not to earth, but to a wicked geometry of tarred hemp and fine steel wire. A hunter's cruel art. The net sprang, hauling the monarch into the air, a furious, thrashing constellation of trapped muscle. He roared, a declaration of rage that tore at the sky. He lunged, clawed, and bit, but the ropes were too thick, the steel too unyielding. His own strength became his enemy, tightening the cruel embrace with every movement. The roars of fury slowly bled into frustration, then into the raw, ragged howls of fear, and finally, into a sound he had never before made, a gasp of abandoned hope. Far away, in its humble warren, Flicker felt the vibrations. It was not the familiar thunder of dominance, but a new frequency, the sound of a cage. The tremor of a king undone. Driven by the memory of a promise, Flicker ran. It found the monarch, a shamed and broken god hanging between earth and sky. Without hesitation, Flicker began to work. It was a sermon of persistence. One tiny tooth against one massive, tarred fiber. A small, furious engine of salvation against a prison of human design. Hours bled into one another. The monarch watched, silent, as the creature he had dismissed as a joke performed a miracle in miniature. Gnaw. Fray. Snap. One by one, the vital cords gave way. A tiny, tireless whisper unraveling a roar. With a final, sharp crack, the master rope tore. The monarch crashed to the ground, bruised, humbled, and free. He stood, shaking the shame and the ropes from his manet. He looked down at the exhausted mouse. The world was silent, waiting. You laughed, Flicker said, its voice no longer a plea, but a quiet statement of fact. You laughed when I promised to repay you. But now you see, the monarch did not answer with a roar. He answered with a slow, profound inclination of his massive head. In the silence, a new law was written that no life is ever too small to save a great one. We all construct hierarchies of worth. In our lives, in our workplaces, in our societies, we measure power by its volume, its visibility, its immediate impact. We build our own kingdoms of ego and dismiss the flickers, the quiet colleague, the overlooked friend, the subtle act of kindness. We become lions, convinced of our self-sufficiency, until the day we find ourselves entangled in a net knot of our own choosing. These nets are our crises, our failures, our losses, our moments of profound vulnerability. And it is in these moments we discover a humbling truth: salvation rarely arrives with a roar. It comes as a whisper. It is the steady, persistent, and courageous effort of the very forces we once deemed insignificant. The true measure of our wisdom is whether we learn to see the titan in the whisper before the trap is sprung. Remember the titan and the whisper. In the grand, often brutal theater of existence, do not mistake scale for substance, or silence for absence. The most formidable cages can be undone by the smallest keys. Practice the courage of mercy, for you never know when your own freedom will depend on the memory of a promise made to the powerless. This is Filiarium. Timeless stories, enduring wisdom.